Hi. Oh, I plugged in. It's me, Bill. This is about Star Trek. You ever heard of Star Trek? You ever heard of Star Trek? Do you know Star Trek is only 48 or 47 years old? Well, 48 years old, actually. I thought I'd get you quickly. I said I thought I'd get you before you got here, sort of thing. I'm sort of trying to get ahead of my time a little bit. Because you keep destroying things, don't you? You know, like you destroyed the video. You destroyed the VHS video. You destroyed the VHS video. You destroyed the analog television. You'll probably destroy YouTube. And you'll probably destroy your computer. Do you know Star Trek is only 48 years old? It's true. The original Star Trek, Robert. Actually, brother, Robert. Sorry. I better put my jacket on, don't I? Sorry about this. It's 48 years of Star Trek, isn't it? Now, at this moment in time, it's 2013, right? The year is 2013, right? Star Trek. No, it's Doctor Who's anniversary this year. We'll talk about that in a minute. But actually, it's Doctor Who's. In fact, did you know it's actually 50 years of Doctor Who this year? Do you know this year is the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who? If you want to talk about time travel. As if you want to talk about time travel. It's actually the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. But also, actually, do you know ever tell you that Star Trek is only 48 years old? It's true. Robert. The actual original pilot episode with Christopher Pike, Rob. The pilot episode of Star Trek was made in 1965. Rob. Robert, are we out of date yet? I said, Rob, are we really out of date? Robert, are we really out of date? Are we too old-fashioned? Right? So are we too old-fashioned? Robert's 48. I'm 47. Alright? I still feel sorry for my brother. 1 year older. He never got to be the little brother. Poor thing. But anyway, no, I mean, it's like so Star Trek started in 1965. Actually, Robert. So we have, I think the 50th anniversary of Star Trek should be 2015. Rob? That's 2 more years to go yet. Do you think that 50 years of Star Trek is 2015? We're not there yet, Rob. We're not there yet. I said we're not there yet. But 2015 will be the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. I said 2015. 2015. That would be 50 years of Star Trek. Half a century. Doesn't that sound crazy? That we've done this much in 50 years? Doesn't that sound a little bit crazy? That we've been doing that in 2015. That's 2 more years in the future. Star Trek will be 50 years old. But look at us now, Rob. 1965, when Star Trek was actually born. Isn't it true that in 1965, Star Trek was born in 1965? That's exactly right in time-wise. Well, Isn't it exactly right? Star Trek was actually born in 1965. Because as Christopher Pike was the captain in the first episode, I've got the cage, don't worry. Rob was born in the cage. Robert. No, the cage. The very original, the very first Star Trek movie. The very first. The very first Star Trek episode was actually filmed in 1965. That was before man walked on the moon. The very first Star Trek story, the very first Star Trek episode, the pilot episode, said Robert, the pilot episode was filmed in 1965. That was the pilot of Star Trek, Robert. Isn't that right, Rob? Historical fact. Star Trek began in about 1965. Right? 50 years later. Oh, it's not. It's only 48 years later. Yeah, 48 years later. Star Trek is still going, one way or another. I don't like those films, though. They were crap. I don't like those new films. They're crap. I love The Enterprise. It's fantastic. It's all about time and stuff. But anyway, no, Star Trek is actually, it's 2013. It's 2013. Star Trek is only 48 years old. 2015 is the first half century golden, is it the golden anniversary? Yeah, 50 years. In 2 more years, right? 2015 will be the golden anniversary of Star Trek, Rob. Isn't that true? Because actually, Star Trek was first broadcast in 1966. Actually, that's when I was born, you see. I was born in 1966. And that was when Star Trek was broadcast, you see. Star Trek actually began in 1965. That was the pilot episode in 1965. That is when Robert was born, you see. Robert was born in 1965, when Star Trek was first piloted with Christopher Pike. And then 1 year later, 1966, in 1966, I was born, you see. I was born in 1966, like the year that Star Trek was first broadcast. I don't think we saw it in colour until about 1970 in Britain. With Star Trek, I don't think we actually saw it until about 1970. Funny thing about time. But actually we were born about, well, when Star Trek started, sort of thing. You know, climbing trees, that kind of thing. Anyway, what am I going to do anything else on this film? Yeah, Star Trek, that was a good show. Do you know it actually began when we were born? It's Star Trek. Robert. Hello. Star Trek actually began when we were born. When we were born, 1965, you were born, Robert. 1966, I was born. And that is when Star Trek actually began. It was me and you, Rob, when Star Trek began. Isn't that funny? 1965, 1966, Rob. We began Star Trek. Work that out. So anyway, if we're dead by now, it's 2015 or whatever. Star Trek 50th anniversary. We started the game.